Hello, it's time for another Gita video. Today we're looking at the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 7, verses 4 and 5. Earth, water, fire, air, the ether, the mind, awareness, and false ego. All of these are my own eightfold energies in division. These are the inferior forms. But besides these, there is another form. Endeavor to understand this superior form of me. This superior form is life, the living beings, great warrior, who make use of these elements of matter. So, in these verses, actually I'm going to do verse 6 too, just to cover it. It says, in this way, know that there are these two forms, whose intermingling produced all things. I encompass all creation and destruction in existence. Now here again, Krishna is talking about himself in the context of enlightened Godhead, right? And the divinity, enlightenment. There are many ways that you can refer to it, but it's the concept of the transcendent consciousness. And so in verse 4, he talks about the basic elements, the component elements, you could say, of reality. And those of you who have been watching my playlist on the Ching will know that in the Ching you have 8 elements. And here you have a presentation of a slightly different version of those same 8 elements, right? So you have earth, air, water, and fire, the 4 terrestrial elements, which are the same in the I Ching. You also see them in Western teaching. They're the ones that are typically present, right? And then you have the celestial elements, which here presented in a somewhat different way. In the I Ching, the celestial elements are the sun, the moon, heaven, and the world, which is a more metaphorical way of putting it. Here, it is the ether, the mind, awareness, and false ego. And these are the eightfold energies in division. So the substances of the world into these qualities. The 4 elements are the most material concepts that make up the material world. Then you have the ether, which exists with no material qualities and no consciousness. And then you have the mind, which has no material qualities and a limited consciousness. And then there is awareness, which consists of the senses and the ability of the mind to receive information. And finally, there is the ego, which is the force of one's own individual personality, created by the mind's limited ability to process information, received through awareness of the interaction of the 4 elements plus ether. So this is a description of the different components, which incidentally make up, from the esoteric perspective, the human being, right? And so that's why he says these are the inferior forms. Besides this, there's another form. This superior form is life, living beings who make use of these elements of matter. So you have these building blocks of reality, but then above that level, you have the level of life itself, which is more than just the sum of those various parts. There is a life force. And that life force is the way that the universe interacts in between its levels. What I mean is, if you look at, for example, in the I Ching, you have these 3 levels in the structure of the I Ching. You have the world and heaven, and in between the world and heaven is humanity, right? Because humanity has all life, but actually humanity is the part of life that is the only part that we know of anyways in the material world that is able to manifest a level of consciousness and awareness which creates a bridge between the world of matter and the world of spirit. So humanity is that bridge, and this is something that makes it more than just the sum of these various components. And so Krishna says, in this way, know that there are these two forms whose intermingling produced all things. And then he says, I encompass all creation and destruction in existence. The combination of all these things put together, when you have the world, humanity, and heaven, and the interaction of time, which is the process of creation and destruction. Time causes the creation of new things and the destruction of the old. All of this together has to be seen as the ultimate form. In the I Ching teaching, it's called the Taiji, right? And here, it's Brahma, right? It's the supreme Godhead. So the divine exists in the energy of life, the energy of material and mental energies, in the forces of destruction and the forces of creation. It is present. In other words, the divine, by definition, has to be present in all of the components that make up that whole. So that's a description of kind of the cosmology, especially in the point of view of the personal cosmology of the Bhagavad Gita. And I guess that's it for this video. If you like this video, please subscribe. Share this video anywhere you think people might find it interesting. And if you like this video in particular, check out the rest of the playlist for the Bhagavad Gita, and check out the other playlists on this channel on a variety of subjects: the runes, tarot, poems of Hafiz, and of course the I Ching, the Yifa Society playlist, which includes teachings on I Ching and Qigong. And if you find that last one particularly interesting, to keep in, and are looking for a system of spiritual practice and cultivation that you could use to engage with your spiritual self-realization, then please get in touch with me about applying to the Yifa Society. Finally, in the description below, you're going to find a link to a mailing list. That mailing list is not really active, but if you subscribe to it anyways, you're going to find in the email that's sent to you upon subscription, there will be a link to a free PDF copy of The Path and the Power, which is my version and commentary on the Tao Te Ching, which you might find very interesting. It's all free, and it's believe me, no one's going to be hassling you with emails. So please check that out. Thank you very much.